Well, hello from the Churchy School in Brisbane, where the Lions have stepped up their preparations for the first test against Australia on Saturday. Mauro Totti is about to speak to the media here. John DL has already been in, and he's been talking about Andy Farrell's decision to add 6 players to his squad over the weekend. 3 Scots named overnight, Ewan Ashman, Rory Sutherland and Darcy, who will join Thomas Clarkson, who arrives tomorrow, having been called up on Sunday. Jamie Osborne, who's been called up as cover for Gary Ringrose and Blair Kinghorn. He's already here. And Jamie George, the England hooker, who's on his way from Argentina. A mammoth trip across the world. He's due to get in alongside Clarkson tomorrow. So there are echoes of the Geography 6, and that's been a big talking point. That controversial move by Warren Gatland to bring in 4 Welsh players and 2 Scots, including Finn Russell, who's going to start on Saturday, into New Zealand 8 years ago to provide cover for the game between, I think it was Test 1 and 2 then. It's Test 2 and 3 this time. They're playing a First Nations Pasifika selection. The squad's been named today. It's a pretty strong one, but it's a bit similar to the AUNZ, the team the Lions played last Saturday, and that's a scratch side. It's going to be difficult for them to come together, but it will be another game between Test 1 and 2, and Andy Farrell doesn't want to risk his Test 23 in that game. He now has 5 hookers, because Luke Cowan-Dickey is out of that game. He's got a concussion a lot. Gary Ringrose is back on the Monday before that game. Cowan-Dickey, I think, is the Wednesday or the Thursday. He'll be fit again, so he won't be available. So they now have 5 hookers. John Deal, the forwards coach, has said they're not going to be here. They may send some of these players home. They're not going to be here for the rest of the tour. They'll come in, they'll do a job, and they'll go home. It's happened in 2013 when Tom Court was drafted in. Shane Williams was drafted in, even though he'd already retired and he was on commentary duty. He got drafted in for a midweek game towards the end of the tour. It's kind of a reality, an uncomfortable reality of modern Lions tours, that these games in between the test series are seen by coaches as just too dangerous to put their players into, because if they lose, say, a tight Furlong, Finlay Beelum, or whoever the kind of reserve tight head is in those games, they'll feel like they've risked too much. So they risk the squad being too big. There's 44 players going to be here once all these players arrive. They risk the undermining the squad cohesion, because in 2017, a couple of the English players in particular made those Geography 6 feel very, very unwelcome. I think, wasn't it Joe Marler refused to come off the pitch to allow Alan Dell come on in a midweek game, and these things do kind of live on, and people still talk about the Geography 6 as a real mistake by Warren Gatland. He has spoken about how he regretted doing it. Finn Russell has talked about how awkward he was, how even when the Lions talk about Finn Russell, they don't really refer to him as a 3-tour line. They don't really count what he did in 2017. So those players will be paid as Lions. They arrive, they'll get the jersey. I think they'll get a number as long as they play. In Tom Clarkson's case, it's an incredible reward for a breakout season. I thought he was very unfairly treated on social media yesterday, because he's kind of a victim of the fact that he's a Leinster player, in terms of people looking at it and going, Andy Farrell's using this as an Ireland development tour. I'm not really sure why they didn't just announce the 4 players together. It would have protected him. But he's had a great season, 26 games, 3 starts for Ireland, 8 caps. He started the Six Nations game. He started all 3 of Leinster's URC knockout games, including the final when he played really well against the Bulls. And he's earned his opportunity to be here. And really, if you put him up against a Joe Hayes or an Asher Opoku Fajura, his record stands tall with those, and he deserves to be here if they needed an extra tight head prop. So that's a big talking point here on the Monday of Test Week. Obviously, by Thursday or Friday, we'll be all looking at the match and the big selection decisions, and maybe tomorrow's video will focus in on the big selection decisions Andy Farrell has to make. The Wallabies did media earlier on. Will Skelton was up alongside Joseph Sualihi, who an impressive double act, very charismatic, very engaging, spoke for a long time. They were laughing, they were joking, they looked very relaxed, the Wallabies. It was great to kind of finally get to see them as they started kicking into gear and prepare for this test match as well, which we're all looking forward to on Saturday. So the Lions are saying there's no fresh injuries in the squad, that everyone is going to train this week apart from the 2 concussed players. Blair Kinghorn's been watched or monitored on a day-to-day basis. If he doesn't make it, his place will go to Hugo Keenan, and we're kind of expecting that to happen at this stage. Gary Ringrose and Luke Cowan-Dickey definitely ruled out. But there's definitely a bigger sense of an occasion this week. There's more people at the media sessions. There's more media arriving in all the time. And it's going to be such an exciting week, and we're all looking forward to it. So we'll keep you posted on the Irish Independent website.